Toxic people want to see you weak. Show them you are unbeatable. There will always be people who want to see you fall. People who smile in your face, but secretly hope you fail. Toxic people can't stand to see you strong because your strength exposes their weakness. They'll do anything to break your confidence. They'll question your worth, spread rumors, or twist your words just to make you doubt yourself. But here's the truth: their goal isn't to hurt you, it's to control you. They feed on your reaction. They want to see you lose your calm, to see you explaining yourself, defending yourself, trying to prove who you are. Don't give them that satisfaction. Silence is your greatest power. It confuses them. It reminds them that they don't have control over you anymore. When you stop explaining and start observing, when you stop reacting and start rising, you take all their power away. Remember, silence isn't weakness. It's emotional mastery. It's saying, "You're not worth my energy." That's how you win. Not by shouting louder, but by walking away stronger. Toxic people love to see you weak because weakness is their playground. They know how to exploit kindness, twist empathy, and use your openness as ammunition. They'll act like they care just to get you to reveal your insecurities. And the moment you do, they'll use them against you. That's why you must protect your peace. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your heart. Stop giving them the keys to your peace. The less they know about your inner world, the safer your energy becomes. Every time you say no, every time you set a boundary, every time you refuse to engage in their drama, you remind them that you're no longer easy to manipulate. You're no longer the version of yourself who tolerated disrespect just to keep the peace. You've grown, you've hardened, and you've learned that self-respect is more important than being liked. And let's be real, your confidence scares them. It makes them uncomfortable. Because when you believe in yourself, they can no longer control how you see yourself. They'll call you arrogant, cold, or different. But what they're really saying is, "I can't play you anymore." Don't shrink yourself just to fit into places you've already outgrown. You were never meant to be small. Walk with your head high. Speak with certainty. Move like someone who knows their worth. When you stop apologizing for being powerful, you remind everyone around you that your value isn't up for negotiation. Confidence doesn't mean you're better than others. It means you've finally stopped comparing yourself to them. It's peace within yourself that no one can shake. The power of emotional detachment is your secret weapon. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop over-caring. It means you stop bleeding for people who would never even bandage you. You stop chasing closure from people who benefit from your confusion. You stop trying to fix relationships that were only meant to teach you. Emotional control doesn't make you heartless. It makes you wise. Because not every reaction deserves your energy. Sometimes the best response is no response. The more you master your emotions, the less they can use them against you. That's when you become unbeatable. When you're calm in situations that were designed to break you. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's success. It's your growth. It's your peace. Toxic people expect you to stay stuck in bitterness, replaying the pain they caused you. But instead, you keep building. You keep healing. You keep moving forward in silence. Let your results speak for you. Let your peace be your answer. They want to see you cry. Smile. They want to see you fail. Keep winning. They want to see you quit. Keep pushing. Every step forward is a reminder that they never had as much power as they thought they did. Success doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be consistent. Focus on becoming so grounded, so centered, that their chaos no longer touches you. And one day, they'll see it. The same people who once mocked your silence will have to watch your glow up from the sidelines. The ones who laughed at your healing will have to witness your peace. But the most powerful part is, you won't even care anymore. You'll be too busy living, too focused on your purpose, too grateful for your growth to waste time on resentment. That's real freedom, when their name no longer triggers you, when their presence no longer affects your peace. You've outgrown the need to prove yourself. You don't need to show them you're unbeatable, because you already are. You survived what was meant to destroy you. You turned your pain into power, your silence into strength, your scars into wisdom. That's what real strength looks like. So, when they try to tear you down, remember this: they can't break what's already built on self-respect. You are not fragile. You are not broken. You are focused, grounded, and unstoppable. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them project, because every time you rise above the noise, you prove them wrong without saying a word. You are not here to please anyone. You are here to grow, to shine, and to thrive. They wanted to see you weak, but you showed them something far more powerful: your unshakable strength. You are the storm they never saw coming. You are the calm they could never disturb. And from this moment on, no matter who tries to dim your light, remember, you are, and always will be, unbeatable. There are people in this world who don't want to see you happy. They don't want to see you strong, confident, or rising above your past. They want to see you weak, doubting yourself, second, guessing your worth, and questioning your power. Toxic people thrive when you're uncertain. They feel powerful when you're lost, when you're emotional, when you're struggling to hold yourself together. Because, when you're broken, they can control you. When you're silent from pain, they can speak for you. But here's the truth: your weakness is their comfort, and your strength is their fear. The moment you stand tall, refuse to break, and show them that no amount of manipulation can shake your soul, that's the moment you become unstoppable. They don't fear your anger, they fear your peace. They don't fear your tears, they fear your healing. They don't fear your words, they fear your silence. Because when you stop reacting, they lose control. Toxic people feed off reaction. They live for the chaos they create, the confusion they stir, and the emotional responses they provoke. They don't want resolution. They want attention. The more you explain, the more you feed them. The more you defend yourself, the more power they feel. But strength is not found in arguing, it's found in detachment. Real power is calm, it's quiet, it's walking away from what doesn't deserve your energy. When you no longer need to prove your worth to anyone, you become dangerous. Because they can't manipulate what they can't control. They'll call you cold. They'll call you distant. They'll say you've changed. But you haven't changed. You've evolved. You've simply learned that not every fight is worth fighting, and not every person deserves access to your peace. Your silence speaks louder than their lies ever could. They want to see you weak, because your strength reminds them of everything they are not. It exposes their insecurity. It reminds them that their attempts to break you failed. That's why they'll try to make you question yourself. They'll gaslight you, twist your words, and make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. But understand this: boundaries are not rudeness, they're protection. You're not mean for saying no. You're not cold for walking away. You're not selfish for choosing peace. You're just no longer willing to destroy yourself to keep toxic people comfortable. Every time you say, "I'm not tolerating this anymore," you take back a piece of your power, and that's what they can't stand. Seeing you rise, seeing you detached, seeing you unbothered. They want to see you cry, instead, you smile. They want to see you fail, instead, you flourish. They want to see you quit, instead, you keep going. Nothing threatens a toxic person more than your peace after they tried to destroy it. Confidence is their enemy. Because when you know who you are, they can no longer tell you who you are. Toxic people lose control when you stop believing their version of you. They'll try to make you feel small, insecure, and ashamed for shining too bright. But you must remember, your light was never meant to make others comfortable. It was meant to guide you out of the darkness. Walk with your head high, speak with authority, move with purpose. Your confidence will always make insecure people uncomfortable, but that's not your problem. The truth is, when you stop apologizing for your power, you remind everyone around you that you're no longer here to be underestimated. They may call you too much, too proud, or too strong, but what they really mean is, "I can't control you anymore." Being unbeatable doesn't mean you never fall. It means you rise every single time you do. It's not about pretending life doesn't hurt. It's about refusing to stay broken. Toxic people will always try to reopen your wounds, remind you of your failures, or drag your past into the present. But that's because they fear your growth. They want you to stay the version of yourself that needed their approval. Don't let them. You've worked too hard, healed too deeply, and come too far to go back to who you were. Stand firm in your growth. You don't need to prove anything to anyone who's determined not to see your worth. The best way to silence them is to live your truth so loudly that their lies fade into nothing. You don't need revenge. You don't need to expose them. You just need to keep evolving. The most powerful thing you can do is protect your peace. That's how you show them you're unbeatable. Not by fighting back, but by refusing to be dragged down. Choose peace over drama, focus over noise, growth over grudges. Let your success be your silence. Let your calmness be your statement. When you move in silence, you confuse those who expected your breakdown. You weren't meant to stay where they left you. You were meant to rebuild stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Because the truth is, your strength was never about how loud you roar. It's about how quietly you rise after being broken. So when toxic people come for you, with their lies, their manipulation, and their fake concern, don't flinch, don't explain, don't engage, just smile. Let them see that nothing they say can touch your spirit anymore. You've outgrown their tactics. You've mastered your emotions. You've learned that peace is the ultimate form of power. They wanted to see you weak, but instead, you became a force they can't destroy. Remember, you are not defined by their words. You are defined by your resilience. You are the storm they didn't prepare for, the calm they can't disturb, and the strength they'll never understand. You don't have to prove that you're unbeatable. Your peace already does. At some point in life, you realize that not everyone around you deserves a front row seat to your energy. Some people don't come to add peace. They come to take it. They walk into your life with empty hands and leave with pieces of your soul. They feed off your kindness, your time, your empathy, and your light. You give, they take. You pour, they drain. And the sad part is, it's often the ones you care about the most who leave you feeling emotionally exhausted. But there comes a moment, a powerful one, when you finally understand that protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's survival. Your peace is your power, and if you keep handing it away to people who never earned it, you'll end up empty. The truth is, you don't owe everyone access to you. You owe yourself the strength to say, enough. Energy is sacred. What you allow into your space shapes your state of mind, your emotions, and your direction in life. But too often, we give our energy away carelessly. We give our time to people who never show up for us. We invest emotionally in people who see us as an option. We try to fix people who aren't even trying to heal. Every time you overextend yourself to those who only take, you silently tell yourself that your peace doesn't matter. But it does. Protecting your energy means learning to say no without guilt, walking away without explanation, and setting boundaries without apology. Because the people who truly value you will respect your limits. The ones who get angry when you set them were only there for what they could take from you. You must understand, not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions. Some people come into your life not to build with you, but to drain you. They'll call when they need something, disappear when you do, and return when they feel you've regained enough energy to give again. They don't want your friendship, they want your fuel. They're emotional leeches disguised as concerned friends. But once you start observing patterns instead of listening to excuses, you'll see the truth. You can't keep pouring into people who make you feel smaller every time you leave them. You can't heal in spaces that constantly reopen your wounds. Protect your space like your peace depends on it. Because it does. The strongest people aren't the ones who can carry everyone's burdens. The strongest people are the ones who know when to put theirs down. You are not weak for walking away. You are not heartless for creating distance. You are not cold for choosing yourself. You've spent too much time trying to be everything to everyone. Now it's time to be enough for yourself. The moment you stop explaining why you need peace is the moment you start healing. You can love people from a distance. You can care without carrying. You can forgive without returning. That's what true strength looks like. Not in holding on, but in letting go with grace. There's something powerful about being unavailable to drama, about not responding to every insult, not attending every argument, not reacting to every provocation. It confuses toxic people because they thrive on your attention. When you stop giving it, they lose their power. Peace doesn't mean you live a problem-free life. It means you refuse to let problems live rent-free in your mind. Protecting your peace means you stop explaining your choices to people committed to misunderstanding you. It means you stop chasing closure from people who benefit from your confusion. It means you stop trying to heal others at the expense of your own well-being. You cannot save anyone by drowning yourself. Your responsibility is your own energy, not everyone else's comfort. The truth is, peace isn't found, it's created. You build it by who you allow in your circle, by what you tolerate, and by how much of yourself you give away. Protecting your peace means doing what's best for your mental, emotional, and spiritual health, even if it disappoints others. And that's where many people struggle. They confuse peacekeeping with peace-building. Keeping peace means you stay quiet to avoid conflict. Building peace means you speak up to end it. You can't keep protecting people who keep hurting you and then expect peace to magically appear. Sometimes, peace looks like losing people. Sometimes, it looks like solitude. But that's okay. Solitude heals what chaos breaks. Protecting your energy also means understanding that not every fight deserves your attention. Not every misunderstanding needs your clarification. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful response you can give. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to beg to be understood. The people meant for you will never drain you to fill themselves. They'll pour back into you, uplift you, and make your peace feel safe. That's how you know the difference. People who love you add calmness to your life, not confusion. And here's the thing. When you finally start protecting your energy, the wrong people will fall away naturally. They'll say you've changed, but that's not true. You're just no longer available for the chaos they bring. You've chosen peace over pressure, calm over conflict, clarity over confusion. And that choice will change everything. Because the moment you stop giving energy to people who drain you, you'll feel lighter, clearer, and more grounded. You'll realize how much of your anxiety came from trying to maintain relationships that were never balanced to begin with. So, protect your peace like it's your life, because it is. Don't let anyone's negativity occupy space in your mind. Don't let guilt trick you into tolerating disrespect. Don't let manipulation disguise itself as loyalty. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Spend it wisely. Give it to those who respect it. Guard it from those who exploit it. And save it for what truly matters. Because once you stop giving energy to people who drain you, you'll discover something powerful. Peace was never outside you. It was always waiting for you to choose it. There comes a time in your growth when people who once controlled your emotions start losing their power. And they hate it. Toxic people don't just want to be a part of your life, they want to dominate it. They want to decide how you think, how you feel, and how you react. But the moment you see through their manipulation, the moment you stop responding to their games, they start to panic. And that's when they switch tactics. When they can't manipulate you anymore, they'll try to discredit you. They'll twist your story, lie about your character, and try to turn others against you, just to make you look like the problem. Because if they can't control your mind, they'll try to control how others see you. But here's where your strength lies: stay calm. Don't defend yourself to liars. Don't explain your truth to those committed to misunderstanding it. Silence will always protect what noise tries to destroy. Manipulators survive on emotional control. They use guilt, confusion, and charm to keep you under their influence. But when you grow wiser, when you start noticing patterns and calling out their tactics, they lose the ability to play the victim. And that's when they get desperate. They'll project their behavior onto you, calling you toxic, dramatic, unstable, just to shift attention away from their own lies. They'll rewrite the story so they still look innocent and you look insane. It's not because you're wrong. It's because you're strong enough to see the truth. Don't fall into their trap by trying to prove your innocence. Let your peace speak for itself. The people who know you won't need proof, and the ones who believe the lies were never on your side to begin with. Toxic people can't handle losing control over someone they once manipulated. When you stop reacting to their provocations, when you stop giving them emotional access, they feel invisible. And to them, invisibility feels like death. So they start creating drama to pull you back in. They'll spread rumors, play victim, or make public scenes to drag your name through the mud. But remember this: the need to destroy someone's reputation is always a sign of their own weakness. Strong people focus on healing, not hurting. You don't have to chase false narratives or correct every misconception. The truth always reveals itself in time. The best revenge is composure, because nothing unsettles a liar more than your refusal to engage. You must understand that manipulators thrive in chaos. Their greatest fear is accountability. They fear calmness because calmness exposes their noise. They want you angry, crying, frustrated, because that's when you look unstable. But when you stay silent, when you stay unbothered, you rob them of the reaction they crave. Your calmness becomes your weapon. It shows that you've risen beyond their level of control. Every time you choose peace over retaliation, you prove that their power over you no longer exists. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them twist your story. People always reveal themselves in time. And when the truth surfaces, and it always does, everyone will see who was pretending all along. It hurts, yes. It hurts when people believe lies about you. It hurts when someone you once trusted paints you as the villain. But you must remember, you can't control what others say, only how you respond. And your best response is no response. Protect your peace by refusing to play their game. The moment you step back and focus on your own life, their false stories start to lose power. Why? Because attention is their oxygen, and your indifference is suffocation. Don't give them the satisfaction of knowing they still matter to you. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It says, I'm not explaining myself to those who never listened in the first place. The truth doesn't need defending, it just needs time. Every lie they tell will eventually collapse under the weight of truth. People who know your character will see through the noise, and those who don't will learn eventually. Karma doesn't need your help. It always arrives, quietly and precisely. The more you focus on your peace, your healing, and your growth, the more their lies begin to look like what they are. Desperate attempts to stay relevant in your story. You've already outgrown them. Don't shrink yourself trying to prove a point to small minds. Keep your focus on becoming better, not bitter. The truth is, your success will expose them far more than your words ever could. Growth changes you, and that's why they resent it. When you were naive, they could control you. When you were emotional, they could manipulate you. But now, you see through the mask. You recognize manipulation disguised as care, control disguised as love, and guilt disguised as loyalty. You've learned that silence is not surrender, it's strategy. That walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. You've stopped seeking validation from people who thrive on confusion. You've stopped trying to make peace with people who enjoy conflict. That's growth. And it's the very thing they can't stand. Because the moment you stop being emotionally available to them, they realize they no longer have a hold on you. So, let them talk. Let them twist the story. Let them play the victim in a tale you outgrew. Because you don't owe anyone your explanation when your peace is at stake. You don't need to prove your truth. Your peace, your success, your stability will do it for you. Remember this: people only throw dirt on what's shining. And no matter how much they lie, no matter how much they try to destroy your reputation, your truth will outlive their deception. You are not who they say you are. You are who you continue to become. When they can't manipulate you, they'll try to destroy your image. When they can't get a reaction, they'll try to provoke one. When they can't control your emotions, they'll try to control the narrative. But none of that matters, because the moment you stop playing their game, they lose by default. Keep your focus forward. Keep your circle small. Keep your peace protected. You don't need to prove them wrong. You just need to keep being right by living your truth. Because in the end, truth doesn't need to shout, it just needs to stand. And when it does, every lie spoken against you will crumble in silence. There will always be people who can't handle your growth. The moment you start healing, improving, and evolving, they panic. because the version of you they once controlled no longer exists. So, they cling to your past like it's proof that you haven't changed. They'll bring up your mistakes, your lowest moments, the times you fell apart, just to remind you of who you used to be. Why? Because they can't accept who you've become. People who can't grow with you will always try to trap you in who you were. But here's the truth. Your past was a lesson, not a life sentence. You don't live there anymore. You've outgrown that version of yourself, and you owe no one an apology for becoming better. When someone tries to use your past against you, let them. It just shows they have nothing new to say about you. Toxic people love to hold your past over your head because it's the only version of you they were powerful in. Back then, you were still learning your worth. You tolerated more, you explained more, you cared more about what others thought. But that version of you doesn't exist anymore. You've evolved through pain, through mistakes, through growth. And that evolution threatens them, because when you heal, you take away their favorite weapon, guilt. They can't manipulate someone who's made peace with their own flaws. They can't shame someone who's already forgiven themselves. So when they bring up your past, understand that it says more about them than it does about you. It shows that they're stuck where you left them, in a place of resentment, comparison, and jealousy, while you've moved forward into self-awareness, peace, and purpose. The truth is, your past isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of. It built you. It taught you what strength feels like. It showed you what breaking and rebuilding truly means. The person you were once was doing their best with what they knew. Don't ever let anyone make you feel guilty for who you used to be. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every failure, it all shaped the person you are today. And if someone can't see that, it's because they haven't grown within themselves. People who are stuck in their own pain will always try to drag you back into yours. But you're not obligated to meet them there. You're allowed to outgrow people, patterns, and places that remind you of who you used to be. Growth doesn't require permission. It requires courage. The ones who truly love you won't weaponize your past. They'll celebrate your progress. They'll see how far you've come, not how far you once fell. But those who fear your strength will always use your past as their last form of control. When they can't discredit your success, they'll remind others of your mistakes. When they can't handle your confidence, they'll try to highlight your flaws. That's not a reflection of your truth, it's a reflection of their insecurity. You don't have to defend your history to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. The person you are now doesn't owe explanations to the people who knew your old self. Let them talk, let them gossip, let them tell stories. You don't need to correct the record when your growth speaks louder than their words ever could. You've already forgiven yourself. That's why they can't stand it. They wanted you to stay ashamed, small, and apologetic, but instead, you found freedom in self-acceptance. You stopped running from your past and started owning it. And there's nothing more powerful than a person who's at peace with their own story. When you no longer hide from your mistakes, no one can use them to hurt you. When you no longer carry guilt, their judgment loses meaning. That's the true definition of strength. Not pretending you were perfect, but standing tall in your truth without fear. You are not who you used to be. You are who you chose to become after everything tried to break you. People who bring up your past are showing you they're still living in it. They haven't evolved. They need an outdated version of you to feel superior, because the current version intimidates them, and that's okay. Let them stay behind. You're not responsible for their inability to grow. You're too busy focusing on your next chapter to argue about the old one. The person you are becoming doesn't have time to defend the person you once were. That's not arrogance. That's evolution. You're not supposed to stay the same. Growth means change. Healing means transformation. Maturity means choosing peace over proving yourself. If someone tries to bring up your past to hurt you, smile. Because what they're really doing is admitting they have no new way to attack you. They can't touch your present, so they cling to your history. Let them. You don't need to erase your past to move forward. You just need to stop giving it power over you. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not the version of yourself that didn't know better. You are the one who learned, who grew, who survived. Your past is proof of your resilience, not a reminder of your weakness. It's the evidence that you've already overcome more than they could ever imagine. So the next time someone tries to use your past against you, don't argue, don't explain, don't defend. Just say, that version of me no longer exists. Because it doesn't. You've healed. You've grown. You've moved on. Let them keep living in your history while you write your legacy. Your power lies in the fact that you no longer live where they met you. You've stepped into a new season. One where your peace is louder than their gossip, your confidence stronger than their judgment, and your growth more powerful than their opinions. Remember this, the past is meant to be learned from, not lived in. You've already paid your dues, learned your lessons, and evolved into someone stronger. You don't owe anyone proof of your transformation. The ones meant to walk with you will see it. The ones who can't will fade away. Let them stay stuck in who you were. You've got too much future ahead to look back. Because when someone tries to use your past against you, the best response isn't anger, it's peace. And nothing scares people who live in drama more than someone who's no longer affected by it. You've already won by moving on. There comes a point in your life when you realize that not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your time, your energy, or your peace. And that's where boundaries come in, not as walls to isolate you, but as gates that protect your worth. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-respect in action. Toxic people will always test your limits. They'll guilt-trip you, manipulate you, and twist your kindness into weakness. But when you start saying no without explaining, when you stop overgiving just to be accepted, when you finally choose peace over pleasing, that's when you become powerful. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about controlling what you allow into your space. The moment you start enforcing them, you stop being drained by people who take more than they give. Toxic people thrive on access, emotional, mental, and physical. They love when you're always available because it means they can use you as their emotional dumping ground, their safety net, or their punching bag. But the truth is, every time you say yes to someone who disrespects you, you're saying no to yourself. And that's a pattern you have to break. You don't owe anyone endless patience. You don't owe anyone constant forgiveness. You don't owe anyone access just because they're familiar. Boundaries remind people that your kindness is not a weakness, it's a choice. When you start setting them, you'll notice who respects you and who only loved you when you were easy to take advantage of. Here's the thing about toxic people. They will always test your boundaries, not because they don't understand them, but because they want to see if you'll enforce them. They'll apologize and repeat the same behavior. They'll act confused, play the victim, or make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. That's why boundaries require consistency, not explanation. You don't have to convince someone to treat you right. You simply remove yourself from spaces that drain you. Boundaries are not meant to make others comfortable. They're meant to make you whole. You're not cold, distant, or difficult for having them. You're simply done tolerating what you've outgrown. One of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn is that boundaries will cost you people. But the ones you lose are exactly the ones who needed them the most. The people who truly love you will adapt, respect your limits, and grow with you. But those who benefited from your lack of boundaries will label you changed or selfish. Let them. You're not responsible for how people react to your growth. You're responsible for protecting your energy. If someone can't handle the new, healthier version of you, that's their loss, not yours. Sometimes you have to disappoint others to stop disappointing yourself. That's what self-respect looks like. Toxic people will always call boundaries disrespect because they're used to control. They expect you to bend, to accommodate, to stay small. But every time you enforce a boundary, you take back your power. You show them that your emotions are not up for manipulation. You show them that access to you is earned through respect, not guilt or fear. Boundaries are your quiet declaration that you value yourself too much to keep shrinking for others. And that's something that will make toxic people uncomfortable, because they can't thrive in an environment where control doesn't exist. You see, people with no boundaries live in constant exhaustion. They say yes when they mean no. They explain themselves to people who've already decided to misunderstand them. They tolerate disrespect because they fear losing connection. But real peace begins when you stop betraying yourself to keep others comfortable. Boundaries are the foundation of self-love. They remind you that you can be kind and still say no. You can be compassionate and still walk away. You can care deeply and still choose yourself. You're not here to please people who drain you. You're here to protect your energy for people who deserve it. When you start setting boundaries, you'll notice something powerful. Peace replaces chaos. You stop overthinking. You stop justifying. You stop needing validation from those who never respected you in the first place. Your circle may get smaller, but it will become real. Because boundaries act like filters, they let love in and keep toxicity out. You'll realize that peace isn't found by avoiding problems. It's found by refusing to invite them back into your life. Boundaries teach you emotional discipline. They teach you to choose silence over arguments, distance over drama, and self-respect over temporary approval. The truth is, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some only came to eat, not to contribute. Boundaries help you see the difference. They help you separate those who genuinely care from those who only show up when it benefits them. And that's not bitterness, that's awareness. Once you learn to love yourself, the way you allow others to treat you changes. You stop accepting half-effort love. You stop allowing inconsistency. You stop excusing disrespect. You no longer chase peace, you create it. So, if you want to command respect and protect your energy, stop waiting for people to change and start changing what you tolerate. Stop expecting toxic people to suddenly respect you when you've taught them for years that they can disrespect you without consequence. The power is in your boundaries. They don't just protect you, they define you. They tell the world how to treat you, what you stand for, and what you refuse to accept. And once you get comfortable setting them, you'll realize that peace isn't something you find. It's something you enforce. Remember this, boundaries are not about keeping people out, they're about keeping your peace intact. You don't have to explain, defend, or justify them. The right people will understand, and the wrong ones will fall away. Either way, you win. Because the moment you decide to stop letting toxic people drain you is the moment you take your power back. You become unshakable. You become calm. You become free. And that's when respect stops being something you demand. It becomes something you naturally command.